Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we're gonna continue learning about the Tidyverse package, okay? Remember that the Tidyverse is a package in R that allows us to explore a data set, clean it, and transform it, all right? Perfect. So, this video is actually, guys, part of a series of videos that I have been doing about data wrangling using the Tidyverse, specifically using a data set about Caravaggio. And so I already did two videos about this. So this is a continuation of those two videos. And it's not mandatory for you to watch those videos, all right, before watching this one. So it's fine if you only watch this one, you will still learn about the Tidyverse. But yeah, I just want to mention that there is some continuity in this series of videos, all right? And in this video particularly, we are gonna talk about the dplyr package, specifically this function. So from the dplyr package, we're gonna learn how to use the mutate function, if else function, and count. And remember that the dplyr package is one of the many packages part of the Tidyverse. And from the stringr package, we're going to learn the string detect function, okay? Stringr is also part of the Tidyverse, okay? In videos 1 and 2, we already talked about these functions, but in this video, we're gonna kind of see a different applications of these functions, especially mutate. Okay. All right. So let's jump into action, shall we? This is the notebook that I'm going to be using for this video, and in this notebook, I included all the code that I used in videos 1 and 2. All right. And as usual, I will post a link to this notebook in the video description, okay? Again, as usual, I already included all the code in this notebook. I don't want to waste time typing code. I prefer to use the time explaining you what the code means, all right? So for that purpose, I prefer to already include all the code and just spend time explaining you what the code means. All right, let's jump into action. So if we want to use the tidyverse, we need to load it. And to load a package in R, we need to use the library function and the name of the package. In this case, library, and then the argument tidyverse. So let's load the tidyverse by executing this code cell, and done. So tidyverse is loaded. Now, let me go ahead and scroll down all the way down because I cover all of these first code cells in videos 1 and 2. Okay, so let me jump to the video 3 material. All of this is video 1, now video 2. So let's jump to video 3. And here we are. All right. Briefly, let's explore again the data set we're working with. And for that, we're gonna, from the data frame we're using, we're gonna apply the head function that will show us the first 6 rows from that data frame. And as we can see, this is a data frame with data about paintings by Caravaggio. We have actually, let's compute the number of rows for that data frame. We have 75 rows, so 75 paintings. And for each painting, we have information about the year when the painted was created, the title of the painting, the origin city, the destination city, the specific place of destination, so on and so forth. All right. And in video 1, we went over the year column. So we explore and clean the year column. In video 2, we explore and clean origin city. In this video, we're going to focus on exploring, getting to know, and cleaning and transforming, if possible, the destination city. Okay, this will be the target of this video. Okay. All right, so what do we do whenever we are exploring a column in a data frame? Remember what I said in the first two videos. We first start by finding out if there are missing values. And then if possible, we try to replace the missing values with the data that is missing, okay? If possible, we try to do that, okay? Guess what, guys? Doing that, finding out if there are missing values and then replacing them if possible is very easy, and it's kind of exactly what I did in videos 1 and 2. So I don't want to kind of be repetitive and do that again. So I'm asking you to do that task, task number one, checking for missing values and replacing them if possible. Do that with the destination city column by repeating the same process I illustrated in videos 1 and 2. So if you're interested in understanding how to use the tidyverse to find missing values and replace the missing values if possible, please check videos 1 and 2 for what I did with the columns year and origin city. Okay, I want to move on to more juicy stuff. Okay, more interesting stuff. All right, so that's task one. Let's assume we already did task one, and now let's move on to task two. Task two is another kind of best practice that you should follow whenever you are exploring a, a column from a data frame. If the column is categorical, so if the column contains categorical data, like in this case, this data is not numeric, right? It's categorical data. It's just the label with the city. I advise you guys to get a list with all the possible values for the column, in this case, for all the possible cities, for all the possible destination cities, and their count or their frequency, okay? So doing that allows you to spot many interesting things, okay? So let's do that here and see what interesting things we can spot, okay? All right, and to do that, we are going to use this function, okay, or this code, or I'm sorry, okay. Let's use this code. So we say from the data frame that we're using, apply the count function, and that count function is what allows us to get the list with the distinct values for origin city and their frequency. Okay, so we say for this data frame, apply the count function specifically to a destination city. And then this argument is optional. So if you want to rename the count, the default name of the count is N, just the letter N. If you want to have a more kind of a meaningful name, you can rename it. And that's what I did here. I named the count using the word count. Okay. You can use any name that you want, but I think count makes sense. And then the last option is kind of optional, but I think is useful. The last option is if you want to sort the results by the count. So sort the results by any column that you want, you need to use a range and then specify what column you want to use to sort the results. Okay. Again, this is kind of optional, but I think it's a good idea to, whenever you are getting this count, whenever you're applying this count, sort the results by the count itself. Okay. And by default, arrange source the results by in ascending order. Okay. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at this, and this is what we get. That's exactly that's exactly what I told you guys. So we were going to get. I told you we're going to get, and that's what we're getting, a list with all the possible destination cities, okay, and then their count. So how many times each city shows up in the data set, okay? All of these cities shows up once in the data set. Now, this is the first part of the output, but if you move down here and you go to 2, you're gonna see the second part of the output, and then you can see that some cities show up 2 times. Okay, all of these cities show up 2 times, and then this one 3 times, Madrid, and then you go to a third part, and then Rome is the city that shows up the most. It shows up 23 times. Okay, but anyway, so take a look at that output. What can you see in that output? Okay, everyone sees different things, but definitely you can spot a few things. One thing that I can spot is that for certain cities, like for example for this one, I have the city and also extra geographic information like the state. Okay, same thing here, the city and then extra geographic information. Also over here, here the city, Syracuse, and then the island where Syracuse is, Sicily. Same thing here, Messina, which is a city, and then the island where Messina is. So in certain cases, I have extra information that is really not needed. I only want to see the city, okay? So one thing that we should do is removing that extra information, okay? And again, we were able to do that by running this count, okay? Running this count allows us to detect that unnecessary extra information. One more thing that I see is this kind of, minor, but anyways, it's something worth pointing out. It's that this word is misspelled. So it should be only fort without the H. So that H is incorrect, okay? So I think we should fix that, all right? And that's another thing we see. And I also see that notice that, guys, these cities are all over the map. These cities belong to many countries. Germany, and then the US, and then Italy, okay? And then we have cities in Spain, in England, all right? Russia. So I think it makes sense to have a column recording the painting's um, country, destination country, okay? Painting's destination country. Right now, we don't have that, okay? So we have the destination city, the specific place of destination, but we don't have the destination country. But we should, because the paintings are all over the place in many different countries. So we should have that, okay? And guess what? We can create that destination country column by using the destination city, and I'm going to show you how, okay? All right, so basically, I spotted three things that need to be taken care of. Okay, these three things. The observation that we have many countries, the extra geographic information that we don't need, the state, the island, and also the need to fix the spelling for fort. Okay, so let's take care of these three things. Let's start by the easiest one, which is the misspelling. Okay. Let's change the spelling, and that's very straightforward. How do we do that? Well, we use mutate. We can use the mutate function, and this is the way we do it. Let me highlight the important piece of code right there. Here we are saying, all right, for this data frame, or from this data frame, I want to mutate, I want to change that column, the destination city. How do I want to change the destination city? So I want to change the destination city based on the logic behind this if-else condition. And the if-else condition says that when this is true, this is the Boolean condition. The first argument is the Boolean condition. When that is true, when the destination city has the misspelling, okay, with the H. So when the destination city has the misspelling, then change it to the correct spelling. When this is true, I want this to be the outcome of the if else, okay? I want the correct spelling. Else, so whenever we don't see the misspelled word, else, just keep the destination city untouched, okay? So here we're saying destination city equals the right spelling when the Boolean condition is true. But if the Boolean condition is false, like any other case, I just want the destination city to be equal to the destination city itself. So keep it untouched, okay? All right, and then remember that whenever you want to make the um, the result from mutate permanent, you need to assign it back to the data frame. So that's why we see this assignment operation there. We are assigning back the result from mutate to the original data frame. So let's execute that. That is done. All right, so we fixed the misspelling. So now let's take care of the second issue, which is we want to get rid of the extra information, okay? The extra geographic information. Now, notice something, guys. Notice something. The extra geographic information happens always in cities with a specific pattern. So take a look at this. Take a look at this. Take a look at this. And this, okay? Those are the four cases where we see that, all right? The pattern is that we see the extra information, extra unnecessary information after a comma. So we see a comma, so we see the city, then a comma, and then the extra information, okay? What that means is that we can use that pattern to remove the extra information. So now we're gonna find a way to tell R, hey, whenever you see a comma, okay, because notice that we don't see a comma in any other case. So we only see the comma when we have the unnecessary extra information. That is important. So we don't see a comma in any case, what the comma should be part of the name, okay? So whenever we see a comma, we want to remove whatever comes after the city, okay? So that's why we're gonna tell R using code, hey, whenever you see a comma, remove everything from the comma and on, okay? Because we don't need that, okay? So again, we are able to do that because all the cases, two things. We are able to do that because all the cases with extra geographic information have a comma, and also because we don't have any situation where the comma should be kept as part of the of the city name. Okay, we don't have that situation, so that's why we can tell R, hey, whenever you see a comma, remove everything from the comma and on. And if we remove everything from the comma and on, we're gonna be able to only keep the city, only keep the city. Okay. All right. So how do we tell that to R using code? How do we use code to tell that to R? Okay, let's see. Here it is. And what I'm doing here is, that's why I added that comment. Check that the change takes place successfully before making it permanent. This is a good practice that I don't always follow, by the way, but that's okay. Sometimes when you are doing something and you are not totally sure that it's gonna come out right, don't commit to that change. Like committing, meaning like assigning back to a data frame. So here I'm not assigning back the result to a data frame. I'm going to check that what I'm doing works. Then once I confirm, I'm gonna make it permanent. Okay, I'm gonna assign it back to a data frame. Okay, that's a good practice that you should always follow. Anyway, so let's take a look at this code. What am I doing here? I'm saying, well, I'm saying from the data frame. From the data frame, apply mutate to the destination city following this if-else logic. The if-else logic has, as usual, Boolean condition. That is the Boolean condition. That's a Boolean condition. What I want the if-else to return when the Boolean condition is true. That's what I want the if-else to return when the Boolean condition is true. And what I want the if-else to return when the Boolean condition is false. Okay. So let's understand the Boolean condition. The Boolean condition uses the string detect function. And as I said here, the string detect function is part of the stringr package, which is part of the Tidyverse. The string detect, very straightforward. That function returns true if the pattern that I want is detected. That's why it's called detect. So if the pattern that I want is detected, that is going to return true. What pattern do I want to detect? This is the pattern that I want to detect. A comma. It's just simply a comma. Remember, wherever we see a comma, we want to remove everything from the comma and on, right? So the pattern that I want to detect is a comma. Where do I want to detect that pattern? In the destination city values, okay? So again, that is going to return true when a comma is found in the destination city values, okay? Great. Now let's see what happens when that is false. So this is what happened when this is true, right? Let's leave that for last. But what happens when the comma is not detected? When the comma is not detected, I just want to return the destination city. So when a comma is not detected, guys, I want the destination city to be equal to the destination city untouched, okay? So that's clear. Now, what do I want to happen when the comma is detected? When the comma is detected, I want if else to return the result of applying sub, okay? I want if else to return the result of applying sub. Sub is a function that actually means sub means substitution that allow us to substitute a pattern by another pattern. So it allows us to replace or substitute a pattern by another pattern. And this is what we're doing here. We want to find this pattern, okay? I'm gonna explain what that pattern means in a second. We want to find that pattern and replace it with an empty string. When you replace a pattern by an empty string, what you're doing is you're removing the pattern. So if you want to remove a character or a group of characters by an empty string, you're removing that character, okay? So whenever you're doing that, replacing a character of a group of characters by an empty string, you're removing that character or group of characters, okay? That's what we want to do. As I said earlier, whenever we find a comma, we want to remove everything from the comma and on, okay? And this is the way, guys, that we tell R that we want to remove everything from the comma and on, okay? It is not obvious why, right? But I'm gonna explain it to you. So here we see a comma, a dot, and an asterisk. First thing you need to know is that the dot and the asterisk are special characters in the context of the sub function, okay? So dot and asterisk, they take a special meaning, okay, when used as part of the sub function, okay? The dot means any character, any letter, any symbol, okay? Any letter, any symbol, even the empty string, okay? Even the empty string. That's what dot means, any character. And the asterisk means repeat it any number of times. Repeat it any number of times. So when we put all of this together, this is what we're telling R. Hey, whenever you find the comma followed by any character, repeat it any number of times, right? Remove everything. Remove all of that. Remove all of that. Replace it by the empty string. Remove the comma and all of that, okay? All after the comma, everything after the comma, okay? So again, comma, and then dot means any character, and the asterisk means repeat it any number of times. So that will try to find a comma followed by anything, okay? And when it finds a comma followed by anything, it's gonna remove everything from the comma and on, okay? That will actually remove, like even if that is not the case here, but even if we find a comma followed by nothing, okay, by an empty string, it will remove the comma as well, okay? So the comma followed by anything, even by an empty string, okay? But anyway, so definitely that would allow us to remove these situations where we have a comma followed by a space and then followed by a name that we don't need, okay? All right, guys, so that's great. That's a great use of the um, mutate function combined with if else, okay? And then combined with these string functions. A string detect and sub are string functions, so they allow us to manipulate strings, okay? All right, enough talking. Let's run this and see if it works. And this is the destination city. It looks like it works because here we don't see for Fort Worth, we don't see Texas anymore, right? And we don't see it Hartford, we don't see Connecticut anymore, okay? But you know what? I'm going to advise you to, if you want to check in a better way, if the results took place, why don't we do this? Why don't we apply count again? Okay, so to this result, we can apply count again to more easily check if the result happened or not. Okay, if the expected result happened or not. Okay, so let's go ahead and say, you know what, that's perfect. So use that data frame and then give me the count. Give me the count of the destination city, and that would allow us to check a little kind of in a better way. Okay. And yeah, sure enough, we can see here that, we don't see a comma anymore followed by unnecessary geographic references, right? Let's check the second part. Boop, no comma. Okay. And the third part, no comma. Okay. So that worked. Okay. That worked. Now that I know it worked, I'm going to make the change permanent. And that's what I'm doing in the next call cell. I'm just repeating the same thing I just showed you earlier. Same thing, guys. The only difference is that I am assigning that back to the data frame, okay, to make the change permanent. And execute that, and ta-da, change took place successfully, okay? All right, guys, last thing that we need to do here, and that will be the last thing we're gonna do in this video, is this other issue, remember? The destination cities are in different countries, so we should create a column with the country. Well, for that, we're going to use mutate to create a new column. So this is the first time I'm showing you in these videos how to use mutate to create a new column. So far, I have shown you how to use mutate to change the values of an existing column, but now I'm gonna show you how to use mutate to create a new column. Okay. Now, here what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create an if-else situation or if-else logic. All right, I'm gonna create an if-else logic where what I want to say is something like this. You know what? If the city is Rome and Messina and Milan, cities in Italy, I want the new column country to have the name Italy. But if the city is in New York and Hartford and Fort Worth, cities in the US, I want the new column to have a value of USA. If the city is Paris and Nancy and cities in France, I want the country to be France. Okay, so I'm gonna use the values uh, of destination city to create the destination country. Okay, guys, we can do that. It's okay to do that using the if else function. But if we try to do that using the if else function, the expression that we need to create is so convoluted. It will be very, very convoluted because we will need to use if else, kind of many nested if else statements. Okay, so it will be messy, very messy. Okay, so whenever you have a if else logic that have many branches, okay, whenever you have if else logic that have many branches, instead of using if else, you can use the function case when, okay, and that's the one that I'm going to use right now, case when. We can do it using if else, but it will be very messy. So let's use case when. And there you have it, guys. Okay, so let me explain you what this is. I kind of already did, all right. And so again, here I'm not making the change permanent yet. I'm checking to see if the results are as what I expect. Okay. Um, all right, so here I'm saying from this data frame, apply mutate to destination country. Now, the thing is destination country, that's not a column right now. That's not a column. That's okay. Whenever you mention a new column as part of mutate, that column will be created, and that's what we want, okay? Perfect. So to create the destination country, use the logic behind case when. And understanding case when is very straightforward. This is what we're doing. Case when the destination city is part of these values. So we're creating a vector with all the cities, with the names of all the cities in Italy. Okay. So when the destination city, it's one of the elements in this vector. Okay. Uh, tilde represents what you want to happen, what you want to return when that is true. What I want to return when that is true is Italy. Okay. So destination country will be assigned the value of Italy when the destination city is any of these values, okay? And just notice that you need to use this specific syntax, okay? So when you're using the in operator as part of the tidyverse, okay? When you're using the in operator as part of the tidyverse, you need to close or enclose the in operator in these percentage symbols, okay? So that's mandatory, okay? And yeah, guys, then the rest is, it's easy. So that's what happens if you want Italy. But then if the destination city is in, these are the cities in the US, then you want US, USA, and so on and so forth. So you repeat the same thing. And the last case, because I know there are missing values, so we didn't check the missing values in this video, but there are missing values in destination city. So I always leave the last option for the missing values. So here, what I'm saying is NA destination city, that is going to be true. That function is .NA returns true if or when, okay, when the destination city is missing, okay? So when the destination city is missing, just return a missing value. So when the destination city is missing, the destination country is missing, okay? When the destination city is unknown, the destination country is unknown, okay? And the last argument is, and this is optional, by default, when you are creating a new column using mutate, okay, by default, when you're creating a new column using mutate, the new column will be placed in the last position. But I don't want that. I would like to place destination country right after um, destination city. So I'm using dot after 4, and that's what this comment is telling you, because I want the destination country to go after the destination city, which is the 4th column. So again, this is optional, but I think it's nice to have destination country right after destination city, which is column number 4. Okay. Will this give me what I want? Let's see. Let's execute this. And then, well, I can see here, it looks fine. Rome, Italy, London, England, US. Oh, it seems fine. The St. Petersburg, Russia. So everything seems fine, but it's like, look how many parts we need to check. So it's kind of tedious to check everything here. Okay. I think it's much better to do kind of what I did, to check if the results are what I expect. I think it's a good idea to narrow focus on these two columns only: destination city and destination country. How can we narrow our attention only to destination city and destination country? After that, I guess that we have two options. We can say, you know what? Select is another function from dplyr. Select destination, and the other doesn't matter, but I want to select country first. Destination country, comma, destination city. Okay, that's a little bit easier for us to check if everything came out right. Okay, but you know what? That's still like too much. So we need to check a lot of parts here. You know what I mean? So I think a better way is to again just run the count. And if you run the count, what that will give us is for each combination, of city and I'm sorry, for each combination of country and city, the count of paintings. Okay, so that would allow us to check the results in a much better way. Let's see. Definitely. There you go, guys. Okay. So only 28 rows. So we can see, okay, so in Austria, we have Vienna. That's good. In England, we have London. In France, we have Nancy, Paris, and Rouen. In Germany, we have Berlin and Potsdam. So a much, much easier way. Okay. And we definitely confirmed that it worked. We confirmed that everything worked. Okay. And here, when destination city was NA, we have NA for destination country. So guys, that worked. Perfect. Now we can commit. We can go ahead and commit and make the change permanent. Okay. And just to make the change permanent, remember, we need to just assign back the results to the data frame. Let me execute this. Ta-da! And now let me check the data frame to confirm that the data frame has destination country and destination city. And yes, it does. Okay. It does. And so that was great. All right, guys, that was all. That was all I wanted to show you in this video. In this video, I show you a few things. I show you how to use mutate with two purposes. So to use mutate to change the values of an existing column, like destination city, the changes we made to destination city. And I show you now to use mutate to create a new column, okay? I show you to use mutate in combination with string detect and sub when you want to manipulate strings, okay, as part of the change that you're making. And I also show you in this last example how to use mutate with case when, and you use mutate with case when the change that you want to make or the new column that you want to create um, follows the logic of an if else that has many branches. So when your if else has many branches, it's a good idea to use case when to guide how the mutate should be executed. All right, guys. So that's all for this video, and I'll probably do a couple of more videos about this data set. This data set is very interesting, and we can really learn a lot of things about the tidyverse from exploring this data set. But yeah, I want to probably explore a few more columns about it. Dimensions, for example, is a nice one. But yeah, that will be another video. All right. Okay, that's all for this video, and I will see you hopefully again in another one. Bye, guys.